King Corn is an award-winning documentary released in 2007 by two college friends, Ian Chaney and Curtis Ellis. They got an idea to investigate their lifespan after hearing that their parents may have a longer lifespan than they, and that their generation may die sooner than they thought because of what they ate. In the process, Chaney and Ellis consulted with Steve Macko, professor of environmental sciences at the University of Virginia, also known as quote-unquote the hair detective. Mr. Macko determined that both Chaney and Curtis should submit to a test of a patch of their hair, which would be analyzed to determine how much of their body mass was derived from corn. They were astonished to find that most of the carbons in their body originates from corn. Chaney and Ellis researched the origins of corn grown in the United States and found that most of it was grown in Green, Iowa, also known as the corn capital of the United States. Not knowing anything about corn or its origins, they decided to move from Boston to Green, Iowa to grow an acre of corn on a borrowed piece of farmland, with the goal of following the corn after it is harvested to see what happens to it. By interviewing several farmers and scientists, Chaney and Ellis discover the role that increasing production of corn has had on American society and the ever-increasing role that government plays in agriculture in the United States. Government supports family farms by stabilizing the amount of corn they grow. This will result in sometimes taking land out of production to keep supply/demand high and balance crop prices. Farms stayed afloat by limiting the amount of grain that went to market. Chaney and Ellis found that the industrialization of corn has all but eliminated the family farm, replaced by larger industrial farms who grew huge amounts of corn whose production and distribution is controlled by the government. At one point, there were other crops grown in Iowa, but with government subsidies and supply and demand, farmers decided to grow corn exclusively. Farmers are paid government subsidies just for planting corn. 1 acre of corn yielded $28 from the government in 2007. The more corn grown, the more money you receive. Farmers are encouraged by the government to grow huge amounts of corn, and government controls the distribution. Made from a grass plant that looks like weeds grown on lawns, only bigger, native corn originated in southern Mexico. Eventually found its way home in Iowa because of its rich soil and humid summers. Gradually, one type of corn replaced all others, a versatile crop called yellow dent, which over time came to dominate the entire middle of the country. The corn that is produced in Iowa is not the sweet corn that consumers purchase at the supermarket or the local farmer's market for consumption at a family cookout. It is genetically enhanced corn. Manufactured corn is used for feeding livestock for human consumption, like cows, pigs, and chickens, to produce high fructose corn syrup that sweetens food items, also to produce non-food items. Facts regarding corn distribution. Chaney and Ellis's acre of corn yield about 10,000 pounds of corn. About 32% will be exported or turned into ethanol and will end up in food and eventually in someone's hair. 490 pounds will be used to produce high fructose corn syrup. 5,500 pounds will be used for animal feed. Chaney and Ellis eventually realized after they harvested their acre of corn that it is then delivered to the town's elevator and mixed in with other corn. There is no way to follow where their particular crop grows at this point. So they decided to investigate exactly how and what the corn would be used for. Corn is used to make cheap animal feed, that is less expensive and more cost effective than having animals graze, and is widely used in America. Cows are packed into trolls and are force-fed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are not allowed to move while they feed, so they do not lose weight. The goal is for the cows to gain weight swiftly, which enables them to be ready for slaughter sooner. Also, they are allowed to feed only for a certain amount of time because the corn could eventually explode in their bodies. Corn-fed cattle are slaughtered and sold to food chains such as McDonald's, Burger King, and other fast food franchises. This meat is also sold to store chains such as Publix and Kroger's. Just about every beef product consumed in the United States comes from cattle that feed on corn. Here's the answer to the million-dollar question that Cheney and Curtis asked regarding where the corn in our bodies come from. Corn is also used to make high fructose corn syrup, known as HFCS. The definition is high fructose corn syrup, also called glucose fructose syrup in other countries, comprises of any group of corn syrups that has undergone enzymatic processing to convert some of its glucose and fructose to produce a desired sweetness. Why use high fructose corn syrup? Because it's cheap. It's very common in processed foods such as beverages, breakfast cereal, lunch meats, yogurt, beer, and wine, condiments, as well as non-food items. In the United States, high fructose corn syrup is a main source of sweetener, plus it provides several pluses. The texture. High fructose corn syrup retains moisture and resists crystallization after baking. Unlike granulated sugar, stability. High fructose corn syrup is a reducing sugar that gives superior browning and flavor to baked goods. Consistency. Lowering freezing points so frozen beverage concentrates can be poured straight from the freezer and are easier for consumers to thaw and mix with water. Baking. The sugars in high fructose corn syrups are quickly and easily fermented, resulting in sweetener bread that is more economic to make than table sugar. Given all that, it is not surprising that high fructose corn syrup is used in a lot of products on supermarket shelves. And the next time you see high fructose corn syrup listed on the ingredients of your favorite product, you know why. Because it is cheap and easily manipulated. There has been much controversy over the use of corn-fed animals in the food chain and the production of high fructose corn syrup in food products in the United States. Some say it's better than consuming sugar. Others say it's okay as long as it is used in moderation. Bottom line, does the government play a significant role in obesity in the United States because it plays a huge role in the production of corn? The controversy over high fructose corn syrup involves all Americans. High fructose corn syrup is found in numerous food items, much of it targeted to kids. Some claims it is addictive and makes one obese more effectively than sugar and can even cause health problems such as diabetes. Andrew Wall, a well-known integrative physicist, wrote on his website, "I am concerned that it has disrupted effectives on metabolism because the body doesn't utilize fructose well, and humans have never consumed it in such quantity." In the documentary, Cheney and Curtis interviewed a New York cab driver who confessed to drinking huge amounts of grape soda laden with large amounts of corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. As a result, he became obese, weighing over 350 pounds and developed diabetes. The cab driver's doctor informed him that his weight gain was due to large amounts of high fructose corn syrup in his diet and informed him to cease using products laden with high fructose corn syrup. And if he did not, it could result in an early death. But many say, calm down. High fructose corn syrup is equivalent to sugar. Eaten in moderation, there is no problem. The American Medical Association released a report stating, because of the consumption of high fructose corn syrup and sucrose are so similar, particularly on absorption by the body, it appears unlikely that high fructose corn syrup contributes more to obesity or other conditions than table sugar. George A. Bray, Samara Nielsen, and Barry Pumpkin co-wrote their article, Consumption of High Fructose Corn Syrup in Beverages May Play a Role in the Epidemic Obesity. They wrote that excessive caloric intake has been related to high-fat foods due to increased portion sizes, and that diets high in both simple sugars and such as sucrose and high fructose corn syrup can and have caused obesity in epidemic proportions. With that said, to whom do we believe? But there are many positive uses for corn. They're used to make tires, hotel supplies, even skateboards.